Hello, this is Eric Skolton here. I'm in a training version of POE. You can see this is a training patient and the training POE, so no HIPAA concerns. I'm going to demonstrate the process of upgrading a person from MIRE 8 to the MPC, specifically focusing on their active medication orders, which I'm scrolling through here. I've added a few of them just so the patient has a realistic amount of medicines that we would be upgrading and downgrading if someone is doing poorly. So let's say we're going to move this guy to the MPC for closer monitoring. So the first thing I tend to do is alphabetize my med list so it's easy to go through, and then I open up my orders. Since I'm interested right now in ordering the orders that will be active when the patient transfers to the MPC, I'm going to enter them as pre-transfer orders. So I select my session type as pre-transfer, hide my worksheet here. And then I'm going to select the orders I want to continue and eventually hit copy reorder to reorder the selected orders. So I'm going to want to continue his aspirin. We're going to, let's say, hold his carvedilol because he's a little hypotensive and needs more fluid, which is why we're moving him. So we're not going to click, and then thus will not reorder the carvedilol. The D50 Benadryl is part of the PCA order set, and I'm going to have to reorder that, so I don't actually click that. You could, but it'll just duplicate things. A fentanyl patch, we'll want to continue that. Lasix, sure. I guess probably not if he's hypotensive, huh? Heparin, let's say he has a clot, so he's on a heparin bolus and a heparin drip, or maybe AFib or something. So since he's presumably already got the bolus, we'll just actually reorder the steady state infusion. So I click that to help remember to reorder it. The guy has diabetes, so we'll want to continue his insulin regimen. Oops, double click there, it'll open up the order. So I'm going to continue his insulin, likewise with his Lantus. Looks like he's also on some other blood pressure regimen. Maybe we don't want to stop all of them. We'll keep the lisinopril going. Let's assume this was repletion from the morning. We saw that his mag was low last night. We gave him some mag on the floor, so we're not going to reorder that. Upstairs, he's getting oxycillin for endocarditis, maybe. And let's keep his PCA going because he has pain issues and we don't want him to withdraw. So I've kind of gone through the list now and selected the medicines I would like to continue in the higher level of care. I then click copy reorder, and we start going through the error screen. So heparin infusions, they don't allow you to reorder using this mechanism. Same thing with the PCA, so both of those will have to be re-entered separately through their own order set. So we'll retime his insulin here. So his insulin is usually dosed in the evening at 2200, so that's been addressed. So he should get that tonight if he moves. And now we have the orders. What we would do next is remember here, this is the spot where people sometimes make mistakes, to go back and order those through the order set that it reminded you to do. So heparin infusion we need to do. Heparin adult nurse managed. Standard goal, no bolus. And what was the other one? PCA, right? So we go to PCA, IV adult. And let's say he was on a standard, and let's say you forget, which I often do, you can go back and look by hiding the worksheet to see what was he actually getting. So he was getting a dilaudid PCA at 0.4, 10, and 6. So we go back to our orders now. You click that screen to get the orders back. PCA IV adult, and we're going to dilaudid standard concentration, dilaudid 0.4 milligrams, 10 and 6. Okay. So now it's putting in all those other orders, the Zofran, D50, etc. Or I guess the D50 is part of the insulin order set. And so now all of those orders should be copied, reordered, as you'll see here. And the best way to review this actually is to submit them again under pre-transfer, and then re-alphabetize your medication list. And now what you can do is go through and double check that all of the orders that you wanted to continue are continued. So aspirin 81, great. Carvedilol, this is the current active order. I don't want it to continue because he's hypotensive, so that indeed has not been ordered as pre-transfer. So that's great. Benadryl, these are the new PCA order sets. His fentanyl topical patch has been reordered. We're holding his Lasix. Heparin infusion has been reordered appropriately. Insulin has been, see, this is where it's sometimes challenging to, so we've got his bedtime and bedtime ordered correctly, and then his before meals ordered correctly, it looks like. His Lantus 15, Q24, both starting tonight. We're holding his isosorbide dinitrate. We're going to continue his lisinopril. The mag we decided not to do. Narcan, these are the PCA orders. Oxycillin, 2 grams Q4. You know that this is ordered as routine, which sometimes will guarantee that the timing of the antibiotic is off, since we don't actually know when this patient is going to go to the MPC. Is it going to be an hour? Is it going to be later? It's tough to pick a specific time. For upgrades, it's actually easier, right? Because we could see when you got the last one going through the MAR. So you'd open the MAR. We would go to med history here to find when the oxacillin was last administered. I think I just ordered that before we started, so it won't be in here really. But let's say it was ordered here, so I'd say, okay, let's discontinue, reorder that so it times appropriately at, if it was 1300, that would be 1700. It's more of a problem on downgrades though, right? Because we don't actually know when the patient is going to move. At some point overnight, they'll be downgraded out of the MPC. But if it's a Q4, Q8, Q6 med, like oxacillin, Zosyn, even Vanc sometimes, if there's a 12-hour delay, you're not sure when the next dose will be due. So there's also issues with antibiotics. I just double-click that. He's allotted, ordered appropriately. Rosuvastatin, rosuvastatin. So that's just the orders. The next part would be to do the admission order set, which I'm not going to demonstrate, but just to remind you what that looks like. Admit to MPC. Admit to medical progressive care. Remember, you can use your hot keys there and just type that in, and then Control A rather. And so then you do your standard click through all of this: the diet, the nursing orders, the vaccine orders, everything. So I won't go through that, but that's still another set. You also want those under pre-transfer. So we did that. We would submit this. Okay, submitted. Now the final thing we have to do is actually put a transfer to, and we're going to transfer this patient to IMC. And attending physician Molly Hayes, former Barker ACS, let's say, and we would say to MPC7. This order needs to go in as a standard order because it's active currently. I'm saying in the current level of care, transfer them to the MPC. So you click submit that, and then I think you're good to go. The patient will get admitted to the floor, and the active orders will be discontinued, and the pre-transfer orders will be released. This highlights that I guess I feel that it's a lot of time, even for an experienced user like myself, to go through, click, reorder, retime, all of these medications, rather than just alphabetize, go through. If you want it to stay on, keep it on. If you want it to stop, discontinue it right now. And if you want to start Levophed, you order it, and then it pops up. But the benefit of this method with the reorder is you really have to go through the med list several times to make sure there's no errors, so you can kind of be doubly sure that's what you want. But yeah, so those are the trade-offs.